All right, so this is accurate, but what does it mean? How does it really matter for us? What I want you to be aware of is that clay is a natural material. So when it says natural soil material, it's not dirt, right? But we find it in the same place. So you can go to certain locations around the world, around Central Washington even, and you can just dig up this clay. Farmers, sometimes complain about this because they want soil, not clay. How do you know if you've got clay? Well, you pick it up and if you get it wet, right? You scoop it up, and if you can squeeze it into something that, like arch shape that doesn't break, you've got clay. If you pick up regular dirt or sand, you can't make a coil and then bend it. It'll break because it doesn't have those plastic properties. When I was a kid, my friend lived by a creek and we were playing in the mud one day and we discovered that the mud stuck together. We had found clay. So now a lot of the clay is gathered on industrial scale. So now a lot of what we work with in school, somebody didn't go out with a shovel, right? Somebody went out with a dump truck and a machine operated digging process. But we're doing the same thing. We're gathering it from nature. Down below, I've got a link, below the video, I've got a link to an article that talks to you about harvesting local clay, but I also want to show you this primitive technology. It's the guy's YouTube page is Primitive Technologies, and this is a screenshot from right about, so the video is mud bricks, and he shows how to do all these different kind of technologies, the old-fashioned way, right, without machinery. And so this one's mud bricks. Around minute 3, he starts mixing the clay. So he's gathered clay, he's gathering water. He adds some stuff into it. They're kind of fun to watch if you have any interest, so you can get to those below. So we dig clay, it's natural. Now what else? How do we know that it's clay? Like I said, it develops plasticity. When they say plasticity, they mean you can squeeze it into a tube and bend it. It sticks together, but it's bendable, right? It doesn't fall apart. Now we know that is a characteristic of wet clay, right? The molecular film of water surrounding the clay particles. We know that wet clay is plastic. We can build with it. We have been building with it. When it dries, it says becomes hard, brittle, and non-plastic upon drying or firing. That means that once it's bone dry, it's breakable. We know that. And this is what allows us to go through the recycling process. So here I have some pictures of essentially the simple or non-technology focused way of recycling clay. So this is a picture of just gathered dry clay. So they've gathered, the pictures are from Burkina Faso because through ArtStore, which is a database that you have access to through YVC. There's lots of pictures, and these ones are legal for me to use. So Burkina Faso or wherever you go dig the clay, if it's dry or when it gets dry, bone dry, we know it's brittle, and we know that it can slake. And as you recall, putting bone dry clay in water is slaking. You know it doesn't work the same way if you put wet clay in water. It'll get wet, but it won't fall apart. It won't break up in the same sort of way. So this bucket here is from our old studio when we were on campus back in the day, right? When we would put bone dry clay in water and we'd slake it, we would then lay it out to dry a little bit more because when it's slip like it is here, once it's slaked, you can't use it for building with. You can pour slip, which we'll talk about later. Then we would let it dry and we'd shape it into these arches so it could dry kind of evenly. And then of course we would wedge it. And this is how you recycle clay at home if you need to. If it gets bone dry and it breaks or you're not going to use it, you slake it, you dry it, you shape it into an arch, and you wedge it. Now, we have tools that we can use, depending where we're at. Some people have a pug mill. This is a pug mill in the YVC studio. A pug mill is a machine that basically mixes it. You put it into you put it into the hopper here. It opens up, and you put it in there, and a machine mixes it for you. This is a de-airing pug mill, so it'll also suck some of the extra. It's like power wedging, I think is what they actually call it. And you can see boxes of clay like what you're using at home. This one here is a mixer like we have in the current YVC studio, and this is basically just a larger capacity way of mixing. So instead of wedging, or instead of wedging with your feet, or instead of doing small batches in a pug mill, you can mix the clay by hand. But all of the process is still the same. You're going to add dry clay to water. You're going to slake it. You're going to let it dry. And then you're going to work with it until it all sticks together. And returning to our definition here, we get a molecular film of water surrounding the clay particles. That basically means all the clay is wet, right? All the little bits of clay get wet, and that water is evenly distributed. So one more bit here of our definition, and that is the pure clay minerals are white or light colored, but natural clays show a variety of impurities. So below here I have a couple of examples of different clays. So depending where you're getting your clay in the world, it's going to have different properties. A porcelain clay is a pure white clay. It's called a primary clay, and it doesn't have a bunch of impurities in it. A stoneware or a stoneware clay or a terracotta kind of clay is made with clays that have impurities. Now, we also sometimes add some things, but this is our kind of simplified description of different types of clays. That if you get clay, the reason we tend to call porcelain china is because China had deposits of this pure clay. The reason we tend to have a reddish clay in other parts of the world is because the clay there had the iron in it, and that made it kind of a reddish color. In another video, we'll get into that a bit more.